Hi, everyone. Today, me and Endless Midnight Moon are going to be talking about the three main characters from her Tapas novel, Beyond the Grey Skies, which you can read on Tapas. So, to start off, we're going to be talking about Annibale de Moreni, and this is his profile that she's going to be talking to you guys about.
Yeah, and basically it's currently just two things currently because I didn't really have a lot of time to build a lot of stuff. And honestly, because a lot of stuff I'm talking about, it might not necessarily show up down here. And basically this is what he should look like. Generally, it can be you can go either way. And I think this is just his main character card. I've been mostly quite bad about the stuff down here. Mostly because it's just like his basically his biography, what he likes, what he dislikes. But then here we're gonna talk about his personality. And I think it's like anybody is a very I would say he's a very agreeable person. First of all, he's not very want to get into a lot of. He's more to find a way that's more diplomatic, and and actually brings me to my first his influence, which is primarily his father. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was raised by his father for quite a bit of his life, so it's like his father still remains quite a strong effect on who he is and what he does, and also it's like his other influence that I think is very strong is probably his grand uncle, his Federico, who generally is also again he's not the kind to just say I'm going to get into a fight, and that probably influences anybody to be like he's not going to get into the sort that just go straight. I'm going to do with someone those are still kind of a thing in my story because it's still very late 1900s. They haven't banned it yet, and
Mm-hmm.
so at some point, whether I'm going to talk with people who are taking guns and shooting each other.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type to get into that, especially since, he is someone who's more focused on commerce and trading, since he is a proud capitalist, right?
Yeah, actually his proud capitalist also ties back to his someone like his mother. Like his mother actually ties back to both his parents because both his parents kind of grew up kind of poor. They weren't very wealthy. Anybody generally had it better than both his parents did. Actually, even though Restituta was a noble, but she was born noble, but the problem was that her family was kind of attained from whatever they were supposed to inherit.
I
So
see.
like so that and so as a result, she was actually dependent on her uncle a lot. Actually, I should just bring out the main the main the main family tree now,
Mm-hmm.
because like it's very she's basically like she was kind of very dependent on her uncle here, on Federico back again, and this is why the fact that Federico is a very strong influence on Annibale is that
Mm-hmm.
she was basically he basically kind of raised her, and actually and that colors into like some like basically this like a lot of Restituta's relationship is like it's complicated. It's like she has a very complicated relationship with her parents. Pompeo more than Lorenzo because Lorenzo died way before Pompeo did.
I see.
Yeah, and that he says anybody is like he's very influenced by his father and his grand uncle to be not very people get into fights. And even so, Lorenzo was more of a scholar too, so it wasn't as though like he was very the kind of say I'm gonna duel somebody to because of vengeance. Cosimo might be harder to say. I won't talk about him because he's so up there in the tree.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
see.
so by then either way it's like actually because like also because like he's also very capitalist, but technically his family came but technically his family because like the De Moroni is actually a kind of can be considered kind of merchant families because like in Italy it was very common for a lot of very powerful banking families to become nobles. That
I
happened a lot in the
see.
Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why I realized that's probably why he's also like very influenced by it, and also and I think because like Niccolo is fundamentally a diplomat. As a diplomat, you're not supposed to get into fights. You're not supposed to kill people.
Right. That makes sense. So that's why Annibale is so agreeable because, of Niccolo's influence as a diplomat as well.
And Federico is a lawyer, but he's not. But he's although he may be a lawyer, he argues a lot, but it's like he's not really. He's more like the law is the law kind of person. He's very strict to the
Mm.
law. He's very towards it, and this is also why he says he's not really like the type to like get into like to try and bend the law. And either way, by this point, in time, he's a politician.
Right.
So yeah, so it's like he's not really fighting that. He's not really fighting in more legal battles. Maybe he does give some legal opinions, but he's not really like a main fighter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's more constant trying to run the country, and in running a country, the difficult part, the hard part is that is trying to get everybody to agree with each other.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Very true.
Yeah, and so basically it's like and so it's like basically so that this is like anybody's the man in his family were just and also because like and honestly Nicole and anybody had a pretty good relationship, but it's more like Nicole never really tried to ask anybody what he wanted him to be.
Mm-hmm.
because actually because if I talk about Nicolo's family, it's like by this point in time, I think I told you that Nicolo had like 3 brothers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has three. He has 2 brothers. No,
Oh,
it's not
right.
three
He's the
brothers.
third one.
No, he's the third brother. Yeah, he has an elder brother and a younger brother. So it's like there's also a feeling that and most of the time his father never really tried very hard to control him to be whatever he wanted to be, and besides he had other sons to fulfill whatever dreams he had.
Oh, I see. So has that also influenced Annibale to also kind of not really listen to other people and just kind of figure out on himself what he wants?
Mm, kind of, and honestly speaking, these 2 people just had to figure out everything on their own. They say that because the entire life principle has been accidental dumb luck got us into where we are.
Mm-hmm. That's
So it's
true.
not really like it's like there's a lot of very coincidental things that got told them to get married and have kids and all that stuff. And even then, that's why they told them it's like very very hands off on almost all their children because it's hard and honestly because like Nicole raises the fact that Annibale might be more like his elder brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his
That
elder brother is actually somebody I haven't talked about yet, but I only reviewed like only half his family yet. I haven't reviewed the other 2 because the other 2 are not even in the same. I probably are not really around very close either.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so but then it's like he has 2 brothers and he has also 2 sisters.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a lot. Yeah. But then people back then had a lot of kids, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody say like, I know somebody say that Zama had 1 out of 21. Like, no, I'm not gonna write 21 people. It's so hard to figure out how to write them well.
Yeah.
And so that's why I trying to keep the limit at maybe 7, I think. I don't know. Even then because like my family is not very big either too. Like the
Mm-hmm.
biggest I think was I don't know. I mean my grandparents level, but either way it's like either way it's like basically it's like yeah, so like either I mean I think it's like it's just complicated. That's why I never very big. And I mean Nicholas was the real middle child, so that's why he never wanted a big family.
Right, right. So compared to his siblings, is Annibale more agreeable or about the same, would you say?
I would say he's a bit more agreeable. Like he's less. I think he's definitely less opinionated than Aurelia, who has her own opinions about like a lot of scholarly stuff. And although she's very again because again the both of them all them raised will mostly stay out of the stuff that you generally don't know what you're doing with, and just focus on whatever it is you're supposed to do. I think also the fact they told them they kind of threw a revolution on his own. Residua definitely lived through the revolution. Nicola is hard to say. He may have started. He may have been a part of a revolution himself. But
Mm,
then either way, it's like it kind of influenced them to be like more cautious. Although it's like it's free, but then it's like economic freedom is better than having to keep on fighting all day long trying to figure out who is right and who is wrong.
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
Aurelia
and then
is
that's why the
also, yeah, sorry.
oh no, oh sure, yeah. Oh, do you want to say? Then continue.
Yeah, so I was saying that Aurelia is she's more academic too, because she's always reading and stuff. And I guess that also influenced how she's more opinionated than the others.
I think yeah, Amaranta is not very opinionated unless it's confession. She's not too opinionated around that. Maybe fashion. She might be rather good at manipulating people. I'll say that Amaranta might be the one who takes after her father quite a bit more in terms of like the sheer personality, the ability to. Well, anybody definitely has more of his charm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
Yes.
Aurelia definitely has his has his smarts. It's like when it comes to Restituta, Restituta is actually more difficult because she's more mysterious. She's how should I say this though? Like if basically this is the person who basically was like basically he was the shower and Restituta was always hiding behind somewhere. She's more secretive, I think. But I
Mm-hmm.
would say that in terms of like she kind of influenced all 3 of them to be whatever they really wanted to be. And I think maybe it's just that she never really tried very hard to try to impose on either of them. But actually she was raised by Federico and also and if I were to go a bit further back, she was also raised by her aunt Cecilia.
I see.
Yeah, and honestly it's like basically it's like these 2 kind of help to raise her. And basically and also I would say that the fact she's also quite academic too, so I would say she also definitely takes after her a bit, especially in terms of like almost all her family is kind of rated towards something academic related.
Mm-hmm.
I think I never really hinted this, but Chicha is a poet.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is what I figured out about her. And Federico is more like a orator. Like he's a very he can convince a crowd. Renzo is definitely more the very classic scholarly person. If there's anything here anybody definitely shares is that they're both kind of reckless. They're both kind of willing to impulsive to go off on long journeys to nowhere just because it sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, we already
Whereas,
saw that in the series.
yeah, and I'll say that maybe it's like okay, Restituta might actually take after her mother a bit more in terms of like just money mindedness because like Pompeia was from a merchant family. She was from like one of the many like I would say the Marilis is basically a term for the Milanese families, and she's from there, and she's like basically they're very rich, they're very wealthy, and it's kind of like the relationship is the 18th century. A moneyed daughter married a wealthy nobleman, noble son who had no money but then rich, cash poor, cash rich, then poor. It was a very common arrangement those times.
That makes
But then the two of
sense.
them did genuinely like each other though. So like it's just like I would say that is anyway because like that and that is what you have really happened. And yeah, so like Restituta and Pompeia took after Pompeia quite a bit, but although she never really saw her mother much after she was 7. And I think back to anybody's motivations, if I will talk about his motivation, but not just like she just got past the survivor stage. I'm now independent. What am I going to do next? I don't know. And I think it's first back to my wife. I think it's like the thing about anybody is like how should I say this? It's like he's a very, very it's like he's also been influenced by his mother a lot to at least be a little bit more grounded, to take care of himself first, and to like make sure that before you jump to anything fun, anything strange, you make sure you are able to like weather the whole thing. True. And I think that's basically one thing he learned was just like he never really from her is just like he's the kind that would just like okay, I'll roll with it and then let me see what happens next. And I think that's one thing. I think Rosita is just a bit more difficult because she's way more of a she's way more strategic, I think.
That
But
makes
she
sense.
definitely understands her children probably a lot more. Nicola wasn't really around them as much as much is that he spent a lot of time running around the world, mostly staying in his mostly going to the Dundari Empire. Yeah, and this is and so that but I think that he genuinely has a relationship with his children. It's not as though like he doesn't know them. No, he kind of knows them well enough. Like if he knew if he like basically if you like, let's face it, if I ever it's like Niccolo knows that Annibale is never really going to go anywhere near university within 10 foot pole, and he gets it. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened in his family too. Like, anyways, because Nicolo's background is like his father was also like was actually a merchant in the shipping, like working in shipping around the like basically the Dunari Empire. There's a lot of trade going out, and because at this point in time they had delegated a lot of it to like the basically the old Ottoman Empire had delegated a lot of this to Greeks and Jews.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so like basically like the Greeks were like major translators, and I'm sure you're drawing a lot of inspiration from that to make them. And that's why I say he's also spent quite a bit of time outside like his normal hometown because his father, in fact, because when his father got married, he went to pretty heavy debt with his wife. Yeah, and that also influenced him too. And actually, also I might talk about it later if I ever bring up his side of the family. Yeah, so it's just and then Restituta was like basically she and Federico kind of had not much money together. Although technically this family, although technically she had quite a bit of money. She did have quite a bit of money, and she did leave Restituta something, but it's just like Restituta was very much on her own to figure out her life anyway. Because although they said that Federico was kind of like her guardian or whatever, but it's like he never really enforced it very hard. It means like
I see.
it's like anyways because like people then forget that he was like the baby of the family here. Like there's like a 7-year age difference between he and his sister, and a 10-year age difference between this one and this one.
I see. Which one of the siblings do you think is the closest to their parents?
Mm, I would definitely only not, but it's more than I started to think it's definitely more of I'm starting to think it might be more of hmm. I'm actually thinking it's actually it might be considered kind of a not really a tie. It's either I would say that it's mostly I would definitely say Annibale is more closer to Restituta because they are both very similar aspirations. Amaranta, I would say she's the hardest to actually I think Aurelia is the one that's the most closest to both of them. Like they both can appreciate the fact that both of them, because both of them are kind of like, they both like to study, they both generally nurture her talent and generally send her to the best schools that they could find, or at least put the best strings they could find.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Amaranta is definitely closer to, at this point that it's hard to say who she's really closer to. Because at this point she's like learning a lot from someone like her mother who's very, very long-term minded. It's like basically it's like, because like if I talk about that back again, like Bessie was one of the, oddly enough, one of the most well-educated, was very well-educated. She was very, very witty. I would say she was very pretty. She was more plain than she was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely describe her as that it's like basically it's like I only settled on her having advice after like 6 months. And I think, that's also pretty cool. And I was thinking, and because like it's actually a real like color. It took me a while to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so but it's like Nicola is more. I would say that I definitely think Amaranta is very. It's like he's definitely close. She definitely is more alike to her father, but it's one that she's also picking up some stuff from her mother too. In terms of like speaking and like doing and like understanding that sometimes it's best to just that let's be the hidden mastermind and nobody else knows you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually, I thought that to bring back to like someone like Federico, I think. And I would say that in terms of women, right, Condensina is very hard. I didn't really come up a very strong role for her just yet because I kind of because she just doesn't appear a lot. Maybe I should bring down somebody else is like maybe Renata. Yeah, Renata. Which part of Renata? Part the tree again. Renata. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I didn't put the final one up, but okay. But it's definitely closer to someone like Renata. Renata is, I think she's definitely she definitely has an appreciation for Renata, although they're not very similar. I think it's like she still hasn't found somebody who can really teach her what she wants, which is really about fashion, about being about trying to own something as woman owned. And I don't think Recital was way more of an Recital was definitely way more of an investor. Whereas Renata was I think she owns some restaurants, some wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, like I would say maybe I'm not really sure what Zenobia does. It's like okay, the funny okay a little bit of the family trip I figured out was like at some point in time her cousin Cosimo who had wanted to and Residua may have married together. That was long before she became part. She even I think she knew Nicolo but she wasn't close to him just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like and he's been a kind of like a nice uncle. Like she like Residua ended it because like she like it was mostly very one-sided.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was mostly he was very in love with her and she kind of felt that this isn't going to end well. If I can do it now, I can probably stomach it, and but then in the near future probably just it might completely collapse in the near future, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why she kind of say, you know what, this has to go. And also because like anyways like this like Renata is like and her brother are very close together. Yeah. Anyway, and also because like this like he also kind of like I think this will bring back to the family rivalry I was talking about that earlier. It's like basically it stems from basically like I would say that basically it's like I would say because like somehow like Lorenzo's death can be considered as a bit suspicious on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I might delve into that later in the future, but then it's like he got betrayed, kind of. Like, but it's not like he was doing something really dumb, so like it was kind of like both ways.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
want to
so
go
like
back to the profiles? We haven't
yeah,
talked
sure.
about Amaranta's profile yet.
Yeah, Amarantha's profile. Actually, I finally figured out Amarantha's profile is like she's like she's very very she likes the theater, she likes fashion, she also like accessories. It's like she's also very assertive and very active as a person. Like she basically is like basically she's like she eventually went to the backstage because she realized that maybe I like creating stuff more than I like acting. Although she can do acting, she can do singing, but most opera singers didn't really last very long. Like their careers were often no, they didn't really last very long because like, the thing was just like, are you insane? That is a very insane schedule. You have to sing, dance, and act.
Wow, that's demanding.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, holy cow, no wonder why not. No wonder most of them eventually, after a while, they just maybe like a decade or so, they'll just stop and then just go back to teaching. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
maybe also that maybe that also factor into someone like Amaranta, who's like also sometimes like Amaranta was like she's also I would say that she's definitely has her own charm, but it's like she realized the fact that it's actually better for me to create because I can create for as long as I really want. Because like it does because at the end it's what your hands can do, and also she's been very talented at it since she was a child. Her mother was like kind of encouraged it in the ending because like was more practical than she was really into like she was more practical than she was mannered, and then she was also more intellectual than she was mannered.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mannered daughter's like the whole man daughter, like, the daughter can sing, can dance, can play violin, can speak French. I'm pretty sure Resident can speak Latin if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that ties into the fact that it's like she wanted, that's why she's like both of the daughters, she kind of encouraged both of them to go in ways that felt natural to both of them, and also Annibale to go in the way that felt natural to him. It's like I think because their family is very, very has no expectations whatsoever because like the two of them never really had any expectations for each other too. Like
Mm.
I did have a younger brother though, but it's like I won't comment too much about his death because his death was pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of really affected her in a way and affected Federico in a lot of different ways too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like ties back into all of this. It's like this kids like she never really she's just been mostly like letting them run do whatever they feel like, whatever they wanted. I think Amanda just wants to like create something that she just want to create for the rest of her life. And I think she realizes the fact that if she wants to actually she might want to use something that's like maybe not like being a seamstress, she wants to create her own style, her own fashion, so things that well maybe might work or it might not work. It might it's still very early. She might can be something like a pioneer or something like that like
Mm-hmm.
of like fashion lines and all that. But even then, she thinks that actually if we were to go that route, it actually would be a lot cheaper than trying to fit every woman's style or whatever they want because like you can only earn so much from other people's ideas.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah,
And
and
Amaranta and Aurelia are twins. How do they feel about that?
it's a very very awkward moment, but all because the two of them are very little have pretty little in common. Just I think that's the biggest thing. They both look so alike, but they have very little in common.
Do they often get confused for each other and it annoys them?
Maybe when they were younger, not so much when they started having their own wardrobe and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
maybe in a way, is that Amaranta might have wanted to distinguish herself, was to start sewing and all that because she really wanted to distinguish herself from her sister, who was like the bright, smart one, and Amaranta's like, I don't want to be the mannered one. Maybe I don't want to be just the one who looks like the other girl, the typical one, the normal one. And she's like, maybe she's not the how so, and then make myself look different. That
Mm-hmm.
probably could be at first was the why as to why she went to like arts and crafts because Mama said she was very good at it. Number two, maybe it was such like I just want to wear my I don't want to wear the exact same thing with my sister and be mistaken of her all the time. I think she got sick and tired of it after people starting talking to her things that she cannot understand.
Mm-hmm.
Or whether she never really cared about it the way.
I
And yeah,
see.
and also because like and I think it's because like I would definitely say Aurelia is more like she's very, very logical. She's the most logical out of them.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, she's the
Aurelia is
most
the academic of the siblings.
yeah. Annibale is he's logic. He doesn't really want to be talking about logic. So for him, it's like whatever gets the deal done, whatever gets the customer finished, and whatever gets the thing closed, then move on.
Mm-hmm.
Although technically, it's like I would say that his trajectory runs like he has no idea what he wants to do, and he's trying to figure it out as he goes along. And he's also definitely having a lot of like dealings with other stuff, other things that they may not be so ill advised. They may not
Mm-hmm.
be so well advised, but it's kind of a bit risky. But it's like he's still in the stage that I kind of will take a few risks before I figure out what I'm really willing to commit to.
Mm-hmm.
Amaranta is like she's still stuck in somewhere where she's still kind of trapped. She can't really figure out a way out of the situation right now. Although she's been taking more steps to reclaim it, I think her story has become a situation where it's like she's trying to figure out a way to get out of the situation and like try to make it out. Try I think it was my idea of this our story is more ties more to like them like maybe like eventually just feeling more worthy again. Probably
Mm-hmm.
more towards that direction and be more like you just be her trying to like figure out a way to be to do a lot to be able to be in balance with herself and everything. Because at the end of the day, she's also very interested in people too. She also has an interest in the people as much as she likes clothes, and also because like she likes to maybe it's like fashion is very very subjective, it's very
Mm-hmm.
specific, and as a result, like, maybe it's like also her interest in people manifesting in something like this.
Right. And Aurelia, she's more interested in knowledge than in people, right?
Yeah, she's definitely more interested in knowledge than people. And although so far is that she hasn't really ignored people the same way that most did, because like both her siblings are they're so people oriented that they indicate that she naturally picks up some of the stuff from them too. That she's willing to like she understands that sometimes you can't just be like very brutally honest. You have to be willing to. I said not all people are the same as honest as you are and all that. And I think that really ties into her. Although she may appreciate like languages like puzzles and mysteries, but it is like she's still very she may dislike guys and she definitely is someone who will call you out on that, but it's like she's not like the kind who's just like straight away like it's one she learned how to be she learned a bit more about how to be more social from being around her entire family and all that. But then although she definitely wants to go to do whatever she wants to do, and which is I think it's more linguistics, and I think it's because the linguistics is like it's not very exactly like literature. It's different. It's like it's more scientific. It's not more. It's more like about breaking down languages and structures and like and although at this point in time it's still pretty early, that linguistics never really came in. It was a very young discipline.
Hmm. And for linguistics, I guess she would eventually become a professor at a university to teach it. Is that, or a researcher about languages?
I wouldn't say because I can't really at this point it's like I haven't really worked out a lot of the details. It's like whenever I write, it's not really so hard. I don't really write it very hardcore. Maybe she might do the research. But at this point in time, it's like there's still a lot in the story I haven't really thought about. I haven't really reviewed just yet.
That's true. Yeah, it's pretty far off in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely far in the future. And at this point in time, it's like she also has a bit of like Lorenzo in her though. Means that she's like very this one that makes her very curious. It's like she definitely has her own like very interesting stuff. Like I would say Lorenzo's not like he's kind of like a poly, not really a polymath. It's more like he's like he has a lot of very separate disciplines, separate interests, and like he just generally just wants to pursue them. And most of the time, it's like basically he just wanted to do whatever the hell he wanted, and he just threw most of the work to Belle who never complained.
Hmm.
But I mean, she never really complained because I was like, no, I like finances and I like knowing how much. And now she thought it probably was better for her to handle finances than to let it to this guy who might just I don't know throw it all on donating to some university or something like that.
Hmm. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So like this relationship is just like it's like basically like there's a trend like although yeah so like all of them like I realize actually definitely more scholastic. All of them although right now so I'm actually planning out the story. It will tie a lot into what I'll be once I wrap up the next volume. You can't be it'll be very clear cut of what I'm really writing them or to be about where the story really comes together.
Hmm.
And because I'm trying to bring in like a lot of stuff, but either way, Amaranta wants to she definitely wants to create her own line. Annibale is still figure out he has no clue what he wants to do just yet.
Hmm.
Or rather, maybe in the future she might want to kind of maybe her idea right now is become a professor. I think for me, like at this point that I can't really tell because I don't really write that hard into the future. Although her direction will be more of like yeah, Debbie right now is just becoming a professor and exploring her own personal interests because like she may be very committed to doing it, but she's not beyond like doing some side research on her own too.
Hmm. That makes a lot of sense. So for our next episodes, we're probably going to talk about the other characters like Lorenzo and the others, right?
Yeah, I'll say the fact that how should yeah, basically like Lorenzo might talk about Lorenzo a bit actually because for me is that I've been thinking about writing some extra stuff for to cover some of what happened exactly down here and what happened between like and some of Residula's past as well.
That
I might
sounds
be
like a good
thinking about
idea. And
yeah
we're going to
and
have character cards for Restituta, Lorenzo, and the others, do you think?
probably I think Resident my hardest girl like I would say she's mysterious. It's just like she's so hard to nail down because like I kind of know what she's like, but it's nice because like she's kind of like you can imagine some sort of really wicked mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think for me it's like I might have to play into that a little bit more in the future, and I definitely will be like that's why I think I need to write a short story for them. If I need to write like an anthology for them, I can really comment on any of this because like I have some big ideas on Federico, I have some big ideas on Restituta, and definitely have some pretty solid ideas on how they all relate to each other. But I think from this point, like I
Mm-hmm.
can tell, and because like at this point at this stage, it's just like it's just like Annibale, Aurelia, and Amaranta is just like they're all like very exploratory right now. although I don't know, I think we can talk more about like some like what Renata has as an influence on them. Zenobia is actually and Niccolo will actually be actually very good friends. They have like maybe like a once a year reminiscent of Greece of Deolia. They're like once a year reminiscent of Deolia. Although she was more from like the islands of the nearby Deolia than she was from like the mainland. Niccolo was from the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like there was like so basically like she was more from the islands, but then they both definitely reminiscent a bit. Although she was definitely she was definitely ruled by like Nexia, which is part of Itoro, and as a result, there's some Greek Italian influence, there's some Italian influences down there for her, and she definitely feels a lot of that herself. But then it's like but then she's still very much a Deolian too. But Nicole is a lot more of a Deolian than he is. And he honestly, I think he kind of misses home to an extent. Although he hides it very, very well. Anyways, I think a favorite hobby for between these two is they love to fish.
Oh, really? That's interesting. And what appeals to them about fishing?
I think it's just the time where you just spend together and just talk about that. Just talk about while they wait.
I see. That makes sense. Do
But
any of
as
the
far as
kids like fishing?
I would say anybody does it more as a hobby that he did the one with his father more.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole did it because like as a child, like his father used to show him how to fish because sometimes they had no money, so they just go and catch fish and bring home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I mean I might delve more into Nicole's background once I really start revealing all of this. Okay, because like I mean like current chapter has only revealed like only his younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his younger sister is like I think like 7 or 8 years younger than he is.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah, it's a bit it's not really awkward, it's just like he's quite close to her, but then it's like but then it's like actually because the joke only was like basically the side joke I ever really thought about is just like because Nicole's name is not really in like basically the it's not really Nicole, it's not really the classic one like Nicolaus. Instead it's a slight variant. It's called Nicodemus,
Mm.
and as a result there's a huge confusion down there. Maybe his father just wanted to name him to differentiate him from all the other Nicolaus running around in the area. Because there was a lot of them. It's a very popular name.
Mm-hmm. I
And as
see.
and then as a result, it's like when he came to Italy, when he came to Italy, he took on the name Niccolo because it was the most common name. And when that's why he married Restituta is that because when he did it, he kind of told him Niccolo, but then his real name was kind of a variant of it, but it's not the direct translation. And that's why his young sister never called it until she sees Aurelia.
Mm-hmm. I see.
It's like a I think I can definitely try to draw up the chapter where it really happens. Yeah, so this will just go to some very late spoiler territory. Yeah, so it's just like it's a newest release chapter, and let me just find it right first. And yeah, basically it's like I think this next chapter. Yeah, so like it's not really it's like you can't really tell it until one of the Instagram posts I posted was just like it was pointing that out. I don't know, I'm just using a lot of stuff promo materials I did. Yeah, so like basically it's like this is one of the things I did was like it was like she didn't really know until she could see like she could until she really saw Aurelia and Amaranta.
That makes sense.
That's when the connection is like very unbreakable because Nicola has green eyes. There's not a lot
Right.
of
I
green
saw
eyes.
that. Yeah.
There's not a lot of green eyed people. There's not a lot of dark green eyed people running around that looks like your dead brother.
Yeah. So yeah, this anything else you want to share about the siblings for this episode?
I would say that actually Annibale has like has I have no idea whether this is hazel eyes, but it's so hard to get it out because I never seen hazel eyes in life. I've seen blue definitely, but I never seen hazel
Oh.
other than pigment. But then it's like he has hazel, but it's like that is so like very good idea. Like it sounds like because again it's like actually his grandfather Lorenzo has hazel eyes too.
I see.
Yeah, compares to normal brown and Nicole is green and Residua is more really weird amber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so but it's like Nicole, but then Federico is also more of brown. I will say that Federico is definitely looking out for anybody a lot right now. He's definitely doing that a lot because because he just lost his father, he lost the influence, and I would say for Amaranta and Aurelia, it's definitely more small of Renata, but I definitely think Zenobia also does quite a bit. Not really, it's definitely more Renata who's like that real guardian who's helping that out. And Condensina, sometimes you get Zenobia because Zenobia doesn't really spend all her time in Toro. She likes to go home. She likes to go home to her beautiful Deonan Islands.
I see.
And also because she has her own children to care about. Renata is still unattached. She's unattached for a variety of reasons, and she may have influenced them to be like really picky in who they are. But then again, her mother got engaged. Like, I'll just say this: her mother got, I think, got engaged at least 3 times, or at least at 3 different courtships that completely ended in complete bomb before she really married.
I see.
I might talk about that a little bit more in the future.
Yeah,
because,
that would
like,
be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because we feel like it's not so she's a heart, but it's also that's why they both them are like they're both very single. They're both not very romantic because they realize that romance is it's not really like what people assume it to be. It's like it's super romantic, it's super easy. No, it's like, I think it's about them like Mr. and Renata are both very pragmatic people, and on and then they really intersect. Even then Condensina got married. Like Condensina was quite she wasn't really romantic either. To like she kind of like passed on her marriage herself. So if her young sisters could marry, because otherwise like she couldn't really marry well either way until Federico came along, and then that kind of changed things a bit. But either way, it's like a Condensina, like Restituta and Renata, they all kind of got married to the right man. They kind of got married or right man, or they didn't marry at all. So it's
that
like
makes sense.
that's why both Amaranta and Aurelia it's gonna be a while before they really find somebody to settle with. Yeah, I don't think it'll be very upsetting too. I mean, Pompeia also has her own she definitely has her own views on how she views Lorenzo that I can talk about a lot in the future. It's just like basically the long story is that she may have loved Lorenzo, but she was very well aware that he was a very, very flawed man.
That makes sense. I think that's very realistic. Yeah. That's definitely something we should talk about in the future too.
Yeah. And Pompeia had a very long time to think about it. So she's like, because like she has like 30 plus years to really reflect on a lot of the decisions she made as a 20-year-old. And it's like, okay, fine. That was it. I mean, and the point is that she still loves Lorenzo. That she definitely holds a candle for him, but it's one that, but it's one that, then at the end, Pompeia's kind of like a real thing that she became like her own stuff. Maybe I'm not really sure whether her status is still kind of like she's kind of doing her own stuff. She's living the life she wants to be. It's not what she thought. It's not the fantasy life she thought when she was 20, but it's the one she's content with right now. That's what I thought about it. Yeah, I probably could talk about that later. Actually, I was thinking of writing anthology a long time ago, but probably covering some part of Pompeia, maybe covering Lorenzo, and I'm actually thinking about including these two into a series too. Yeah, because actually, I'll say the one that really had happy ending, that really had a very happy marriage was probably these two. Like these two generally had a very happy marriage. Although it ended quite short, but I will talk more about that. I think in the next episode I want to skip out on like something like character episode because like I need to start writing a real anthology to cover all this stuff because these ideas have been me for like I think a few months. I kind of really figure out who is who, what is what, and like a lot of the stuff already. And like, okay, Federico's funny story is like he got married to this woman to avoid getting married to another woman. And because he also really liked her too. Like honestly, he was already intending to marry her even beforehand, but it's like because of politics, he was actually initially set to marry somebody else. But somebody else I might talk about that in the future is going to be someone that's already appeared in the story and is very important.
I see.
Yeah, so I'll definitely say that if I want to write one, I'll definitely need to cover like I'll definitely be writing a few short stories before I really cover any of these characters because it's because there's a lot of stuff I haven't thought about just yet. And I think because the main problem for me is that with this group of characters, just like a lot of it's Annibale is still sticking his stuff out, still sticking something out, and you might see something appear again. But then I'll definitely be like writing a few short stories to really glimpse who they are. But yeah, I think that's about it. And I think it's like if I talk about this family, I may also feature some part of this family down here too, which is what with this and cousins and all that. And because I think for me it's a lot of whatever the history comes back, it comes back to like when Itoro was under Rancian rule, and I need to figure out a lot of what was going on back then, and like because right now I'm still like rereading. I think I was rereading Napoleonic Italy all over again. Yeah, so like I think for me it's just I think if I do a few glimpses, but I'll not really cover very heavily, just a few short stories to really cover up what's really going on all of them down here, and maybe a bit of what's going on down here because it's like I thought a very long. I think it came out of the concept that I used a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Yeah.
next episodes we're going to start covering all these distant cousins and aunts and uncles in more detail.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I might decide to just cover like their friends instead. Like, like on like because Resident has a very Scholastic was like Amaranta's pretty close friends. I might choose to like I might want to focus a bit more on that family because they're very close to the Morenis and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't even talk about the brother, but the brother has kind of appeared in the series already. So there's a full family on the series on its own. Or I might
Right.
cover more like people who are around him more around them, like the more secondary tier characters who are around them, rather than say like this very main thing.
Right.
Actually, let me think about it first before. Let me just decide what I want to send you first before I figure out which one I want to cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have a lot of time. Maybe we can do the next podcast in July. What do you think? So we have more time to think about it.
Yeah, I think also for me, it's like I never really thought very hard about whether I want to write anthology, but now I was like thinking, yeah, I probably need to write a real anthology to cover a lot of what's happening down here. And although I have some family tree special away, but it's like because I haven't really thought about it yet. I'm actually thinking about publishing one of them because for one particularly good reason is because the family has already kind of because of this chapter. You're just talking about Nicolo's family.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did build the tree quite a while ago. Yeah, but it's like actually I'll say that if I ever thought about it, it's like Amaranta might take after his father's family a bit more than his mother's family. If I ever review about them, it's like his grandma, like Nicole's mother is a very colorful woman. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
It also kind of influence on why he's so like there's this fair of like somebody like restitute type because like his mother was a very interesting woman and I'll probably cover that a little bit more in the future. Yeah, so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's about it about what I want to talk about. It's been very exploratory because I'm just been talking about like okay, Annibale's influence is just like he's just very I think it's what I said when I write his character, just I find he's more fun because like he's just more like something who's like he's kind of similar to like how he's very carefree. He's like the time some say, I was supposed to happen. I could lose everything, whatever. And that covers a lot of his deals and a lot of his stuff and a lot of his choices. It's like very, very focused on who he is. That's Amaranta is more like she might be more like thinking manipulative, more like enemy, not enemy terms because like she has had a very bad experience before. Like I think I never really talked about her background, like theater and all that, but I might cover that in a future chat, in probably a future maybe as another short story. I might just cover that what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Arena is definitely the most. I would say she's the most straightforward out of all of them. Like anybody is used to doing whatever it takes to please the client, regardless of how stupid or ludicrous it sounds. You just do it anyway, as long as it makes them happy. He's willing to accept the more unusual stuff just as long as he gets it done. Amaranta is more like she wants to feel in control. Like actually, I feel so like a lot of whatever happened after chapter 20 is like she just wants is like a lot of her trying to make herself feel in control.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's also like she's also very particular. She's also very kind of independent. Although she's been learned to like never really show the fact that she might not really think very highly of some people, but it's still like because like she was very polite, she was taught not to piss people off for no reason because like Resident and Nicola both learned the fact that you shouldn't just don't just piss people off for no reason. Like, it's a very good move to not piss people off. Like if you don't like them, it's just to be good to like keep it along. And like, it's like although she's like very she likes to feel like she definitely wants to be in control a lot. So whenever she feels not in control, she definitely does want to take it back a bit, and that's where she does a lot of stuff like I learned how to still to really myself feel a bit different. But even though she was like quite naturally talented at it, but it's just like it's a lot of hard work on her end too. Oh, sorry, you might getting too fast. I don't know what this. This just open a new door.
So to wrap it up, I think we got a really great idea of what the Di Moreni family is like, and the cards really helped us also lay out the backgrounds for the three main characters.
And I'm actually thinking that in the future I'll be covering more like I'll probably be adding more stuff, but what's their more on their relationships, more on their maybe a bit more on their just that I think just more the relationships, more on their history a bit more too. And I think I
Mm-hmm.
realized that she's the most straightforward. I think like she's also the most boring. Although getting to her head has been like very it's more like it's not very boring, it's just like she definitely is very curious on her own too. Like she definitely has her own like interests and she hangs around some people who have very differing views from her. Like she has a good friend like I think this her name is Margalon, and she's very into history. She's the person who just go around all the place and Aurelia is very good friends with her. They kind of like roommates too. And a lot of it's because like she likes talking about stuff outside whatever she's studying. Like she's not very insular. Yeah, so I think it's like Amaranta says like, she's very handsy, she's very creative, and I think fundamentally is like she's also very aware of people after her experiences, after what have happened. She's more so, and definitely because and also I think the biggest thing is to take away. I think the biggest thing that really describes what their parenting was like. They're basically very hands-on, very modern because they had no idea because like, they had very their background was that we just got into everything by accident. Like Nicolo never imagined that he would be a diplomat. Residual never imagined she'd be doing what the hell she's doing like in life. Like she never imagined as an investor until like she got into a point like, oh, I should just start investing. And it goes like, I should just become a diplomat, I guess. So it's like that's why the two of them been so hands off on like trying to encourage ambitions. Although maybe Nicolo may have felt a little. I think maybe there's a tad of disappointment in Annibale not being the son he wanted, not being the son he wanted, but I think he got over it pretty fast.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I think it's because like Nicolo definitely feels like, was I the son my father wanted? I doubt so. I doubt so. Like he could because it's like I would say his father's like a natural merchant. Like his elder brother's not really his ideal, but his elder brother is like somebody like, who does the work, who's very diligent, who's very normal, and like but his definitely has I would say the fact that and his younger brother is like I would want to sign up. I want to sign up for war and to fight in glorious heroic war. I'll think to that a bit more later future. Like, yeah, because like so and then that and event and Nicole's like the weird middle child. And he's not really weird. It's just like he's like the kind that's like he might hound around his mother a lot, and I might talk about what was her what she actually did at home and all that stuff because like anyway it's like what the hell was the kid like by the time that Nicole was an adult they were kind of doing quite well for themselves. They went from being heavily in debt to doing quite well for themselves.
Right. Well, thank you so much for this amazing episode. We covered a lot about the De Moreni family, especially the three most fleshed out characters in your series so far. And we can't wait to learn more about the other characters who have influenced them or shaped them in other ways in the next series of podcasts.
Yeah, or maybe just roughly around them that, yeah, anyway, I think you get a very good record on that too. I need to get a very good I need to get very good I need to figure out what that is first. But yeah, I think I enjoyed this episode because it's just like me talking about the whatever I thought about initially, and it's more like I only hinted some stuff, but it's like it just been thinking that maybe I should just really write an anthology or something like that to cover some of what's really went on here.
I think you should. I think it can really help you flesh out a lot of ideas you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.